just in time for my token helicopter to arrive. Shit. Oh, man. So, I think I hiked the river for about 2 miles today, I think. Fished my ass off. Hold on. I'm gonna wait for this helicopter to go over. I got no patience, brother. That was a big military helicopter. I don't know if it was American or Canadian, but it was military, and it wasn't one of those big Hercules things or whatever they call them. Probably looking for Chinese submarines, I'm guessing right about now, with all the global absolute turmoil going on because of the parasite humans. I don't know how many of you watch the geopolitical scene closely as I do. I watch it very closely, and there's such bad shit going on. Anyway, I guess right about now everybody's watching that video with those 5 upright beings on the video. I haven't been able to get the follow-up email yet. I'm not home yet, obviously, but no internet out here. But I was thinking about that as I was driving out, actually. That small one sure was ripping across the bottom of that valley pretty quick in that view. Don't you think? Be interesting to see what everybody's take on it is when I get home. But anyway, let's get an email shared at least while I'm out here instead of from inside. I'll probably have to finish up inside once I get back, but who do we got? Steve, I finally thought I would put this all to paper as I'm 70 years old and an avid hunter since age 7. The first time I was allowed to go hunting and shoot guns with my dad and grandfather, I was taught very strictly how to handle weapons, and my father made me recite the 10 rules for handling guns. I have hunted in Missouri, Kentucky, Colorado, Wyoming, and Nebraska. I've been in some of the deepest wilderness areas of the United States, some of which are national forests in Missouri, very remote. I've had several encounters and several sightings. I finally thought I would put it to paper, as I know for a fact they are real. I will tell you about the encounters and sightings from the beginning. First encounter was in the late 80s. I moved to the vicinity of Boonville, Missouri. The country was wild. Had the Missouri River running through it as well as streams, ponds, and rivers. The area was lush farmland and had many types of edible plants and animals. Howard County at the time was one of the deer counties, top deer counties in Missouri. I guess I should be saying Missouri, right? For harvesting big bucks. I was a teacher at the local college and knew many of the young men in the area. I got access to hunt with them on their farms. And one day I spotted an area about 5 acres. There was a huge sinkhole. All knew about it, but no one went in there to hunt deer as locals said it was haunted. Logging road right behind me. Full load of fur. This is sounding a little familiar. I might have read this. I found it way down in the... I think it's a long email, so I thought maybe I didn't read it because it's a book. I'll keep going. One day I spotted an area, about 5 acres, that was a huge sinkhole. All knew about it, but no one went in there to hunt deer as the locals said it was haunted. I looked and it was the thickest brush. All farmers pushed trees and brush down into the deep hole. It was full of undergrowth and deer trails, scat tracks, and sign everywhere. I told them I was going to hunt that the next morning. All warned me not to go in there, haunted. I went down into the sinkhole long before daylight. I used a red lens, small flashlight to enter one of the deer trails into the center of the sinkhole. I readied my 7mm Magnum with 160 grain nozzler partitions. I sat there in the dark waiting for daylight to come. That's when I heard it. A low moan and growl that sounded like The surround sound, sounded like surround sound, and rattled and echoed through the entire sinkhole. I thought that sound was Satan himself. I was terrified and knew something very large was in that sinkhole, and it was not human. I heard sticks breaking and something started approaching me. With moonlight, I could see up to 100 feet, and a huge, large, bipedal creature was stepping over logs and brush, approaching me. I could see it coming, slowly, toward me. I took my gun off safety and raised it at the large shadow. It continued coming and stopped about 20 feet away. I was going to shoot it square in the middle of the chest at 15 feet. I could not miss. I'd only get one shot. Had to be damn near point blank. It then slowly moved away, growling, and filling the sinkhole with a huge, low guttural sound. At daylight, I left never to return. The local boys laughed and told me it is haunted. We told you not to go in there. I listened to them after that. Sighting and encounter number 2, early 90s. I bought 18 acres down 10 miles east of Salem, Missouri, bordering national forest, thousands of acres of national forest, combined with Indian Trail State Park. This area is very remote, huge forest. Much of that forest is seldom entered except deer season or logging. I had encountered a large mountain lion and some black bear. These were very rare in Missouri, and at that time, damn it, something's behind me. Something's behind me here. I got every hair in my frickin' body on edge. Whoa. Holy shit, I got skin crawling. I got goosebumps everywhere. I mean, my hair is rising up. Ooh. We are talking, the hair is rising up on my body right now. Holy shit. I'm not even breathing properly. Something's going on in this patch. Just up the other end of it is where a huge branch broke by the lake. I'm not leaving. Not this time. Oh. I'm not leaving. Where was I? I bought 18 acres down 10 miles east of Salem, Missouri, bordering national forest. Thousands of acres of national forest combined with Indian Trail State Park. This is very remote, huge forest. Much of that forest is seldom entered except deer season or logging. I had encountered a large mountain lion and some black bear. These were very rare in Missouri at that time. When I reported it to local conservation, they told me I saw a bobcat. Yeah. With 40 pounds, tufted ears, a bob tail. This cat was 150 pounds, 5 foot long, and a tail 3 feet long, not a bobcat. The paragraph I just typed was highlighted and erased, not by me. I will type it again. I was driving deep in the national forest down old logging trails. I was behind Indian Trail State Forest and the Mark Twain National Forest. A huge, remote forest. I caught something moving out of the corner of my eye, and it ran right in front of me. The agility and speed was something out of a Marvel Comics. I estimate it was running 40 miles per hour, and it looked like a huge man in a gorilla costume. It jumped into a thicket, and I stopped and backed up to see what it was. It looked like a huge man in a gorilla costume. It jumped into a thicket, and I stopped and backed up to see what it was. Suddenly, a pole-sized tree 3 inches around, 8 feet long, hit the side of my truck. Put a dent in my door, pissing me off. I got out my 9mm pistol. Another small tree struck my truck, again denting the door. I was enraged. Then a third tree hit my truck, denting it again. I finally spotted it, and it was not human. It was huge, 8 to 9 feet tall, and it was snapping off those trees like a toothpick and throwing them at my truck. Time to go wasn't human. Told people, got ridiculed. Setting out encounter number 3, mid-90s. I got a job in Lincoln County and St. Charles County as their business specialist for the state of Missouri. Moved between Winfield and Troy. Culver River State Park. It has a big lake called Lincoln County Lake, and the back of the park is very remote. It goes into deep ravines along the Quiver River in very dense undergrowth. I used to love walking around the lake in early February and March as the leaves were off the trees, and it was nice and beautiful. The sun was shining, and I had my wife and youngest son with me. We were walking on the far side of the lake when I had to take a pee. I told my wife I was going to step into the woods and relieve myself. I went up about 150 feet, standing there waiting to whiz when I heard the large snap of a stick. I looked where the sound came from and almost passed out with fear. I saw a 10-foot biped, all black, looking at my wife and child. My first thought, I did not bring enough gun. He was extremely muscular. The muscles of the stomach and chest were massive and looked like someone on steroids playing football. My heart dropped into my stomach as I watched this thing, watching my wife and child. I had a 9mm Browning high power with 14 shots. I did not think I could bring it down. I now carry a MOS 40 10mm Glock with buffalo bore bullets, 16 shot. My plan was if it made a move on my wife and child, I would outflank it from behind, get close, and shoot it in the head several times. I am capable. I glanced at my wife and child, and when I glanced back, it was gone, without a sound. And needless to say, I D-dead down the road quickly and never told my wife until last year. She will no longer camp with me or go into the deep woods. No doubt. So the dog's in the truck with the windows up except maybe 2 inches. She's passed out from hiking up and down the river, but the truck's about 100 yards from me that way. And I don't know what's going on in here, but something's going on in here. Dog's not doing nothing. I don't know why the hair on my body is on end. I don't like it, but I don't feel like I'm gonna die or anything. But holy shit. Wow. I'm not leaving. Sighting and encounter 3, spring 2022. It was early April and word was the mushrooms were popping everywhere. I went to a very remote area on the Missouri River where no one goes. Thick, green, lush, and edibles, turkey, deer everywhere. I could not quite understand why every mushroom was missing, only the stems. I had got a half a sack full of morels last time. I went deeper than ever before looking for fresh mushrooms. This is very gross, but the truth, and quite frightening as well as unusual. I walked but had bowel problems at 69 years, young, and was going to have the splatters. No toilet paper, only a red bandana. It'd have to do. I hung my rear over a log and it splattered everywhere. I wiped with the red bandana, then proceeded to mushroom hunt. I came upon this very strange area where there There were small hut-like structures made out of limbs, brush, and trees. I've included pictures, if you get them. Some show a Sasquatch for real. Some show their habitat and structures. I found some older footprints of a huge foot photographed. There was also a cave. There were boards collected and used to build some of the structures. Picture. I knew it was Sasquatch structures, and they were there. I heard growls, whistles, whoops, and I figured it was time to go. They did not like me there, and they started whispers and starting to cut me off from the way I came in. I quickly left and cut back along the path with whoops, whistles, and growls the whole way, and when I passed the place where I had the bowel movement, it was all gone, including the bandana. They ate and licked it clean. I figured if they ate my fecal, they might like the taste of me. I did get out and have not gone back. I'll attach pictures. Two contain pics of Sasquatch, and if you notice there's one picture missing between the two pics of the dark figure Sasquatch at the bottom of the picture. The one in between I thought was a camera glitch and erased it. It showed the Sasquatch something like an electron field surrounding it, and it was like electrons around the nucleus of an atom. I now know it was changing or a portal. I might have read this, but I don't care. I'm going to keep going. I don't have another one to read with me, I don't think. 4 sightings and encounters deer season, November 22nd. Deer season was November 23rd, scared shitless. I went deep into an area along the Missouri River where a few hunters ever go, even during season, so remote and thick that you have to hike to get in there. I was out in fall 22 hunting in deep area along the river, and I noticed some Sasquatch dwellings and deer blinds. They put them on deer trails and on moonlit nights and catch deer coming into the berries. I found evidence. That made me nervous. I sat there close to evening hours when I heard it scream, and I knew what it was. I heard it before many times. I looked in the distance. I saw a huge Sasquatch roaring and coming toward me at about 200 yards. I picked up my rifle. Time to go. As it was coming, I moved as fast as an old man can move, considering I had 1.5 miles to get to the car. I moved fast. Never knew it was there. Close to the car, about 100 yards, I was crippling, wore out, exhausted, and was not watching my 6 for the first time ever. Thought I should scan the deep 6-foot brush next to me and stop acting like a crippled animal about to die. Not smart. I shined the brush, expecting to see nothing, when I saw a pair of yellow eyes at 50 yards from me in the brush. They looked at me, turned left, and disappeared. When I saw them again, they were to my right, 25 yards. I turned on 3 spotlights and backed into the open field and drew my pistol and readied my rifle. Something was amiss and coming for me. I backed into the open field about 25 yards when I spotted the yellow eyes on the edge of the brush. Excuse me. Thought it was a cougar, the way it was moving in. It then stood up. A huge, dark figure, 9 feet at least, total dark. My lights would not even illuminate the fur at the close range, but I could detect the outline and size and was terrorized. Okay, there's a mosquito. I was being stalked. I walked to the truck backwards, turned on all the lights, fired it up, and split. Time to go. I did not want to give up my hunting ground and figured I would go to another spot and not go into where their dwellings were. I'd spotted them previously. My wife and son told me not to go back, but I wanted that Boone and Crockett buck I'd been trailing. Been there, and I can understand. I went to a different area in the same compound and started to hunt. Early, about 3:30 p.m. I was hunting when I heard one scream and start coming toward me through the forest. He was not happy, and he was coming like a train. I immediately picked up my rifle, left my seat up, camouflaged, and blitzed What? Sorry. I immediately picked up my rifle, left my setup, camouflage, and blitzed. Time to go. I was moving quickly, and I had a good start on him. Big male, and I think he was an alpha male. This time he got meaner. As I ran, he pushed a tree down that snapped like a lightning strike and landed not far from me. Terrorized me once again. I continued running when another lightning strike, the tree cracking as pushed down again, landed close. I could hear him growling and breathing. Scared to death was an understatement. I was topping the levee to run for the open field when a rock the size of a baseball went whizzing past my head very close. It would have killed me if it had hit my head. Going 150 miles per hour after playing baseball for years, this was way faster than a pitcher. I cleared the levee and got to the car and did not go back in 2022. I don't know why I'm turning around. I guess the camera was looking that way, whatever. Spring of 2023, I was out exploring the forest. 101.5 miles from where I saw the other Sasquatch. I was looking for a new deer ground, but would not go back to where I hunted in 2022. I rode my four-wheeler as far back as I could go until I had to go on foot. I approached this forest along the river and I noticed something very strange about it. I called it the Black Forest because the canopy was so thick, no sunlight got in. I entered the forest and the temperature is very cool in there. And the first thing I found was a new tennis shoe sitting right in the middle of the forest. Brand new shoe. Why was it there? A warning? I went all the way to the river as nice spring day. I was enjoying the day and a green tea when I noticed all the birds and animals and insects had stopped making noise. When I entered, birds, insects, squirrels, all were running around and noisy. I don't hear anything here either. Nothing. Now not a sound, except I started to hear murmuring and whispers, unintelligible, and I knew immediately what it was. Heard it before. A strange, whispering, guttural language of some sort. They were getting closer. I go nowhere without a pair of Walker's game ears on, so I know when anything is approaching. I started down the path quickly and pulled my 9mm SIG P365 openly. They know what guns are. I was being followed with whispers, motion in the brush, and breaking sticks. Time to go. On the way out, I noticed something I did not notice on the way in. Super wonderful Sasquatch structures. The small huts were fabulous. One in particular noticed looked like a Viking home. It had grass and moss on the top and was about 6 by 12 and all branches interwoven. It was a superb structure. In fact, there were 3 superb structures. I gave myself 60 seconds to photograph with my phone. My phone was turned off. It started and tried to take another picture and then it shut down again. Tried the third attempt. Shut down again. Time to go. Got to the four-wheeler and did about 40 miles per hour out of there through deep brush. I was so scared they could run and catch me that I ran off the bank into a 4-foot creek bottom. I hit hard, bounced, and jumped the other bank at full throttle. I hurt my back and neck on that move, but I got out. Knowing the Sasquatch were in that area in more than one group, I think, I found a much closer hunting area away from the river and out toward the road. It again was 1.5 miles from the last encounter and 2.5 from the previous encounter. I went out opening day of 2023 in the afternoon. I went into this area and set up on a rise where I could see a long way in the surrounding brush fields and trees. An excellent spot for a buck wallow and rubs, deer sign everywhere. I sat down Walker game ears on, and I hear a huge buck grunt. Then I heard it, a Sasquatch scream and a growl within 75 yards of me. I did not move. Grunts, growls, and movement continued, and I was afraid to move. I had a 300 Winchester Magnum and a 40 MOS Glock at the ready. I then spotted 2 does entering the field, looking back like the big buck was there. I'm sure he was. And I think I woke the Sasquatch sleeping in the deep brush next to the tree line. He was not happy. Something moved above me in the deep pine trees over my head. Pine needles fell down all over me. I thought, could that be the Sasquatch? They're known to move through the trees, or ground equally well. I got preoccupied with the deer, and as far as I knew, the Sasquatch had not moved or come toward me. I thought he left. Wrong. Once again, pine needles rained down on me, heavy. I thought there's a squirrel or raccoon in the tree, and then a few moments later, the ground shook around me like a 3.0 earthquake. It felt like someone dropped a Volkswagen almost on top of me. Then I heard it grunt 10 feet behind me. I was wedged in the crotch of an old tree and I could not turn, and I didn't want to. Pulled my pistol, did not turn to look, as it was on top of me. I could hear it breathing, deeply horrified and terrorized. I then heard it run off. The first steps shook the ground as it ran off. Boom, 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 boom. And needless to say, it was time to go. When I got out of there, I realized it could have easily killed me. In fact, on each occurrence, the Sasquatch could have easily killed me. Trees, rocks, jumping next to me 20 feet out of a pine tree, had me surrounded in the forest 2 times, let me go. However, each warning got more severe. This last one told me he could have squished me easily and just landed next to me. I don't know why they attacked certain people and not others. I don't know why. Summary. That was my last hunt. I can't go again. I know what was out there, and I can't enjoy my hunts anymore from fear. I've seen them. I know their power. I know they are intelligent and have language. They are the king of the beasts in the woods. You are not the ultimate predator because you have scent lock. The cat was bigger than me. The bears were, and the Sasquatch were. I'm 7 years old. I've had the greatest hunting experiences for over 63 years. No complaints, but I just can't go again. Too many encounters, too many times. Terrorized. I am done. I'm highly educated, very trustworthy. Don't lie, as I detest it. I was a teacher, college instructor, worked for the state, worked for corporations as financial representative for accounting and computers, and Sasquatch are real. Be careful out there, and no, you don't want to see one. You will be changed forever in the woods. Sincerely, Timothy D. Wathen. P.S. I will try to send pictures of what I took that day mushroom hunting. Large files showing habitat and 2 pictures of actual Sasquatch. Fact. Alright, there you go. I did it. And I appreciate you. Bit of traffic going by the logging road. 3 trucks, one after the other. Hope they know I'm trying to record here. Get out of here. That was a struggle. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you sending that email. I don't believe I read it before. I'm glad I found it. And I'll make sure I search your name when I get back and see if there's any photos in there for everyone. I don't feel scared. I just feel, I thought I heard something get tossed 10 minutes ago or something. I don't feel scared, but something's going on in this forest.
tighten up this tripod. I'm going forward a bit. I don't give a shit. There's a big swamp back there. If you keep going back the way the camera's facing, there's a huge swamp back there and a bit of a lake too. How crazy, there's a hill back there. I never knew that. Rises right up. Thought it was all flat here. Well, that's interesting for me. Weird. Huh. Focus up there. Huh. Alright, enough of this shit. We gotta go home. There's the 360. Maybe one day I'll go for a big walk through here. Or not. Alright, here we go. I'll do the camera facing back thing for Scott Carpenter. Scott Carpenter always tried to talk me into strapping a camera on the back of my backpack, walking where I do. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to see something sneaks up. I don't need to see something sneaking up on me where I like to go, but whatever. I'll do a short walk today. Man, that hair standing up is such an intense one. It's nasty. It's a nasty nerve grabber. I don't like walking around in my waders. I'm gonna pop the suckers. I have a hole in here. Ground's pretty stomped underneath me here. Definitely there's been a lot of traffic right along this trail. You can just tell it's a trail. All along here. Huh. Alright, that's enough. I gotta go home. Time to skedaddle and go home. At least got to catch steelhead today. That was good. Good soul food for me. Did what I love to do. Be back tomorrow. No way, I got one on, a big one. Yeah. Oh, that is a lunker. Holy. Uh-oh, not in those logs. No. Nope. That's it. Oh, what a beauty. Holy. Nice chrome fish. Look at that sucker. Bubs, look at it, I got a fish, Bubs. Bubby, what's this? What's this? Hey? Woo-hoo! Oh wow, look at that fish. Oh, look at that fish. Beauty. What a beauty. Beauty. There you go. Sweet.